Oh, yeah. Take it.
What's up, y'all? Episode 85 of Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday night per the normal time. This is your host, Graham Powell, co-host Bradley Brown. Say what's up, Brad.
How's it going?
It's going great for Denver. We'll touch up on that here in a second. First, quick shout out to our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, Shoebooty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. Sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your favorite fitness app. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Once you submit your results to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section, your results will be verified by Rhino Races staff. And once those results are verified, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Free shipping on all orders. That first day was tricky. Free shipping on all orders. And yeah, be sure to check out their gear section for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. Again, rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. Also, you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, the Wisdom app. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at Shoebooty Sports. So Denver won it in 5. Went pretty
Who's
much
seen
like
that
we thought.
coming?
Yeah, who saw that coming? Check out our previous episodes, maybe the last 3, maybe the last 2 or 3 at this point. I guess I don't know. Might have been 3 deep. I don't know. It was clear in the Western Conference Finals they were the best team.
Yeah.
They were the best team remaining. But Nuggets win it all. They win it in 5. Last night, though, in the fourth quarter, felt like a game 7. Like it felt like a game 7. It was sloppy. It was back and forth. Both teams were just leaving it all out there. Denver was playing like they were the desperate team. I mean, Miami was too, but I mean, Denver was playing like it was an even series, and this is the last game. And you gotta give credit to their head coach for that. And also, it's a hungry team. You know, it's a team that's going for their franchise that's going for their first ever championship. But yeah, Nuggets win it in 5. Heck of a game. It was, even though it was a gentleman's sweep, as they say, winning it in 5 games. It was still entertaining to watch. Game 1 was very predictable. It was the least entertaining of the games that I watched, but these last 4 were entertaining. Entertaining. They were heckin' entertaining, as the young people are saying. And
Yeah. I guess I don't know any young people.
yeah, I mean, niece, I've heard her say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, entertaining series despite it just being 5 games. You got what, like, Miami did what I thought they would do. They came out fighting, came out swinging, did not give up. They're not going to do that. They're going to be as prepared as they can be. They're well coached, and they're going to leave it all out there. They have a lot of grit, but Denver has more talent. Denver has those things and just more talent. So that was the difference in the series. Jokic wins MVP, was terrific post game, and it, on the floor and in the media room. Very entertaining. We'll get to all that, but what were your thoughts overall, just on the finals, entertainment wise, all that? Just like as far as just a 5 game series goes, I mean that's about as good as it gets, especially considering it was predictable, at least as far as the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was better than I thought it'd be. I mean, going in with the Heat versus Nuggets, I mean, if you had told anybody that at the beginning of the season, I don't think anyone would have been too crazy about that matchup. Um, but yeah, man, I thought, Miami put up a bigger fight than, well, they made it closer than what I thought they would. I mean, because they really had a chance in uh, 3 out of those games, and hell, they actually won one. So, yeah, I think it's better than I thought it would be. Um, but yeah, it's good, I guess, for a 5 game series.
And if you would have said it was great for a 5 game series, but yes, if you would have told me Jimmy Butler would have been like 2 for 14, or I think it was like 2 for 13 or something like that before he started to go off there at the end of the game, If you would have told me Jimmy Butler had that stat line in this last game, I would have said Denver by 20,
Yeah.
Denver by 20, and it was still a close game. They still had a chance. Jimmy Butler finally came on at the end a little bit. He got the he got a foul call on a 3-point attempt after kicking Aaron Gordon in the junk, but not Draymond style. It was a legitimate accident. But I know I've heard the argument as to why the foul is called. Like you got to give him space to land. I thought it was enough. I thought it was enough space. I didn't think they crowded him too much. There's only
No.
so far you can go there on the baseline. So I thought it was a bad call, even after the review. Like, that's the thing, and it was reviewed, and the play stood. I got the argument, but at the time I was like, that's. I think that's kind of a misinterpretation of the rule a little bit. I think you got to look at that and say, yeah, that's not a foul there. I don't know what else do you do if you're the defender? You take 2 or 3 more, steps back. It was a bad call, but Denver overcame it. Jokic was big late. The big steal by KCP, and that's the thing. Everybody played a part. Aaron Gordon had a big time game. Michael Porter Jr. came on late, or he had his best game of the series last night. He had struggled a little bit, at least in this series, but he came on last night, and that breakaway where he had it, he dribbled it like behind his, from behind between his legs.
Yeah.
That was unreal, man. Like he did that in a game, in a finals game, close game, and pulled it off. Like that was, and he wasn't showboating, of course. I mean, people are going to hear this, but you had to have seen it to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I thought he
Ter-
lost it for a split second.
yeah,
Nope.
terrific play by him. That's just a great team, man. Uh, Entertaining team to watch, fun team to watch. Michael Malone didn't even wait till they got off the floor to get on the mic and say, "We're not done." Essentially, kind of calling for it, saying they want more. And this team, I mean, looking at them, it's possible. It's possible that this team is dynasty level. And by dynasty, I mean a true dynasty. Like you win 3 of the next 4. So you got the one. And if you win, 2 more in over the next 3 years, that's a dynasty. This team can do it if they stay healthy. Of course, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter's had injury issues. Obviously, Murray missed all of last season. So that's why, they weren't as strong last season in part. That's a big part, but in part. But yeah, I like it. I like coming out right away. Obviously, a very competitive coach coming out and saying that. I loved it. Because it's he pulled a Pat Riley, but Riley at least waited for the parade. Malone didn't even wait to get off the floor to do that, and I loved it. I think the team, they stick together. I think it's possible. I think it's possible that they do it. Of course, you got to see what everybody else does, but they could be kind of peaking at the right time, and not kind of. It feels like they are. The Warriors are on the way out. I don't see them getting another one. The great run. I mean, 4 championships, great run. But last year, like just looking at it before listening to all the talking heads after saying, this could be the beginning of another run. Just looking at it live, I thought this is it. I thought this is like their last big, big time series, essentially. And you seeing me okay over there?
You're a little bit frozen right now.
I'm a
Oh,
lot. Okay,
there
I was
you
a
go.
lot of it frozen. For those of you watching on Spotify and YouTube, I was a little bit frozen there. It was even throwing me off. But I was like, I don't know if this is being seen on the other end. But yeah, it's a possible dynasty. We'll have to see what happens. As far as who can challenge them, we'll touch up on that. But yeah, I think this team has the making of a dynasty. Really, the only one I think you're probably going to lose after this season is Bruce Brown, because apparently he has like it's all about money. I think he has like a $7 million option or something, and teams are going to offer him probably like double that, or up to like 15 million, and it'd be hard for him to turn that down. That's one that you're probably going to lose, but you can also turn around and replace that. Go get a backup center, and go get a backup center, a backup point guard, somebody to spell Jokic, spell Murray during the regular season for sure. Like, hey, come play behind these guys. I mean, you're going to get playing time and you're going to compete for a championship. And Denver, it's not like Denver's a bad place to live. It's not like you're going to live in Cleveland, right? Uh,
Very
yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah, you get to go live in Denver. Not a bad place to live. Great owner, committed owner, GM, very good young GM, obviously, to put that team together. The most talented team in the league. The most talented team in the league won it. And yeah, no old guys. I mean, Jokic is 28 years old. I mean, these guys are. I mean, they're peaking like right at the right time. They're like They're meeting their prime essentially. They're coming into their prime. They're fresh into it. So yeah, this is going to be a fun team to watch for the next few years. I'm going to be. I have a feeling ESPN's going to be ESPN TNT. They're going to be picking up a lot of Denver games, which they didn't
Right.
this year. How often did we get to see Denver play?
Yeah. Not a whole lot.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I remember seeing them on the TV guide.
I remember seeing them a couple of times, but for the team that had the best record in the Western Conference, you'd
Yeah.
think they'd be on TV more, and they were essentially that almost all year. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot more of them to come here in the next few years. Okay, so Nikola Jokic, MVP of the finals. Yeah, just that's a big one for his resume, his future Hall of Fame resume. Where it's too early, I feel like, but I still want to throw the question out there. It's not. I feel like it's too early, but I still want to throw it out there. Where would you rank him among big men that the game's seen? Is he top?
Uh,
Is he top 10? Is he top? I think he's top 10 for sure.
yeah. I'd say I could see him being top 10, but
Of course, that resume is very incomplete. I mean, he's got many more years to come, and he can climb that list. But I'm trying to think of guys who I would really just compare him to. Jokic is one of a kind. He's dominant. Like Shaq was dominant, but Jokic is dominant. He's just as dominant, but in a completely different way. Like, Shaq was a powerhouse.
yeah,
Jokic can do it all. He can score inside, he can pass, he can rebound,
he can shoot.
he can defend. Yeah, he can shoot outside. Shaq would just bully you down low and then, dunk it on top of your head.
I think I seen Shaq make a three once, right?
I don't recall that, but
I know I seen him
possibly.
shoot one.
Yeah, I'm sure he possibly. I'm guessing. I'm surprised you even
But
saw him shoot one.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm trying to think of like who I would compare him to. Like he's one of a kind. Just to throw a name out there, it, gosh, I guess it would be more like a Kareem or Elijah. But even then, I mean, they couldn't pass like Jokic. And it's just he's one of a kind. He's fun to he's a lot of fun to watch. He's already like top 10 to me. He'll be top 5 when it's all said and done, I'm sure. But we'll have to revisit that in the years to come. I just like that. There's a lot of things I like, but Jokic in the post game immediately what was he said? We did what we needed to do. Time to go home.
Yeah, he just want to
Essentially
go
was the
home.
message. Essentially the message. And in the presser, it was funny watching his post game interview, like on the floor and in the media room, and Jamal Murray's. Of course, Jamal Murray is incredibly emotional. Just overwhelmed you're overcome by the moment. He's in tears. He's tears of joy. Of course, he had to overcome a lot more than Jokic did just to get back onto the floor. You know, missing all of last season with a torn ACL. So it's like kind of like Denver's version of Clay, right? Clay Thompson. Of course, Clay's had a plethora of them,
Yeah.
but for Murray to get back out there after missing all of last season, yeah, it's going to hit a little different. It's going to hit a little different for you because the stuff that you had to go through just to get yourself ready to get back onto the court. And Jokic said this in the post game interview, was essentially just saying, basketball is not everything to him. I don't even think, I think he even said it's not the most important thing to him. But it's something he does. It's his job. He's good at it, and he's great at it, obviously. But it means something to him, But it's like he's just got his priorities straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very likable guy. I don't see how you can watch anything with him in it and not be a fan. Even if you're a Miami Heat fan, you don't hate the Nuggets. No, you're not going to hate the Nuggets, right? Like they're just it's a likable team. Even if you're just indifferent or don't care, you're at least you're not going to hate the team. Like the Warriors, you can understand why people hate the Warriors or would hate the Warriors. Seeing the way Draymond acts on the court sometimes, all that stuff. I get why they don't have some fans, why they have some detractors. Like LeBron in Miami, the decision and all that.
Yeah. That was
You
pretty
can get
bad.
why, yeah, you can get why teams like that get hate. You're not going to see that with Denver, at least not from somebody with any amount of sense. But yeah, Denver, this is just a fun team to watch. Their style of play, it's almost like traditional basketball is coming back. Like it's cyclical, just styles of play. Like the Warriors changed the game. Warriors changed the game. Small ball is big. They made small ball big, and and it's just the Warriors that could do it well. But you have other teams that see the success that they have, and they're like, "Oh, well, we got to do that, and we got to do that in order to be successful." And again, they didn't do it as well. But yeah, Warriors changed the game with small ball. When Draymond's your center, I mean that's a small ball as it gets, right? But I mean, Denver has shooters. Denver has 3-point shooters, but they score twos. They're fine with scoring twos. The Lakers this year. The Lakers this year in the postseason, they were fine with scoring twos. But the problem was they couldn't hit a three when they needed to. Denver can. Denver has shooters. They just don't have to hit the three. They can do other things. They're fine with twos. So, and they're big. Like that's the thing. Denver is huge. You look at Aaron Gordon. I mean, he's a 6'10" jacked guy. He is thick. And all muscle. Michael Porter, a big guy, big guy at the small forward position. KCP, not small. Jamal Murray is a big guy for a point guard. He's a good sized guy for a point guard. Denver's just a big team, and that's tough to defend. That's tough to have an offense against. You can see Denver not necessarily like changing the game, but the way they play, it's kind of shifting back. Like this could be them just shifting it back to a more traditional style of basketball that teams are going to start to mimic because they see the success that Denver's had with it. What do you think of that analogy? Or not analogy, but analysis.
I like it. Yeah, it's a one. Didn't really think about that, but yeah, you make a good point.
All right, so early favorites for next season. I believe Vegas has Denver. It'd have to be Denver. It's
Yeah,
like I
why
said,
would you not?
pretty much all of them coming back. I don't even know who's second. I haven't looked at anything. But I imagine the Warriors are going to be in the mix. If the Lakers can keep that team together, they will be. Maybe add some pieces, maybe like a CP3. Chris Paul. I don't know if they do that. I would still, if I'm them, I'd still rather have D'Angelo Russell if I got to pick between those two. But the money that D'Angelo Russell is going to ask for is going to be probably out of the cap space there for LA. And if you got to replace him with somebody. If you can keep CP3 healthy, that'd be a good guy to do it with. But yeah, Denver's the favorite. They're the odds-on favorite going into the next season, maybe for the next few seasons to come. But what does Miami need to do to improve? To me, you got to go out and get another. You got to go out and get another a scorer. You got to go out and get another scorer who just pops into your head. It's Dame, right? It's Damian Lillard. Who else? Kyrie, like, if you pull off a trade for that, but
Uh,
Kyrie's one, a headache.
yeah,
Two, not going to give you a lot on the defensive end. Uh, Damian Lillard, hungry, more coachable, not going to be a problem off the court. He's been the franchise in Portland for I don't know what it's been, like a decade now. Feels like anyway. I mean, he's been the guy forever there in Portland. But they're wanting to rebuild. They're wanting to rebuild. It'd be good to see him go somewhere where he can compete for a championship. To me, that's the obvious spot if you're Miami. You need a scoring threat. And Kyle, that's the thing. Like I didn't mention this when bringing up Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler he was a no show. He was a no show in this last game. He played poorly. I know he had apparently had a bummed ankle. He didn't use that as an excuse. Said the ankle was fine. I'm sure that helped made a bit of a difference, but I mean, either way, Jimmy Buckets was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found this last game, and you need another option to score. Kyle Lowry became the guy. Kyle Lowry became the guy this past game, as Kyle
can't
Lowry is
have
an
that.
NBA champion, former All Star, very good player. Not knocking him, but if he's your guy, if he's your scoring threat outside, you're in trouble against a team like Denver. So going out and getting a Dame would make sense to me. To me, that's the obvious improvement for Miami. I don't know where you find the cap space. I don't know if you got to deal Tyler Hero, whatever you got to do, because I know you're paying Jimmy Buckets and Bam Adebayo a lot of money, and they're both $30 million players, I believe, 30+ million. So if you're going to go out and get a Damian Lillard, especially with what Portland's paying him, I don't know if you're going to how much of that you're going to have to take over, but you're going to have to free up some cap space to do that. I would find a way to do that because this Miami team, you got to go do something. You got to try something because this Miami team, as is, just isn't good enough. They're not good enough to win the finals. I don't think that I don't think Miami would have beaten the Lakers had the Lakers somehow won it. I think it could have been a 6 or 7 game series, but I think LA would
Yeah,
have been the favorite. Just like 2020, although it's a completely different LA team. And but you think about it, like that Lakers team was huge, right? You had AD, you had Dwight Howard, you had KCP on that squad, uh Kyle Kuzma, um gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the bald guy, the white guy. What's his name?
oh,
Headband.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's driving me nuts. But I mean, he was a good player for him. He was a scrappy defender, scrappy playmaker. Ah, gosh, can't think of his name. Alex Caruso. Alex
Yeah,
Caruso. There you go.
Caruso.
Yeah. All right. But that team was big. That Toronto team in 2019 was big. Siakam. Gosh, I want to say I mean, of course you had Kawhi, but Bismack Biyombo, I believe, was on that team. I mean, you had some big guys on that squad. Um, yeah, so kind of cyclical. It's kind of going back to that traditional, at least that's leading to success on the floor, the traditional type of play that we're used to seeing or in years past. All right, so where's Chris Paul going to go? I brought it up. You think Phoenix tries to re-sign him, or do you think? I mean, I'm sure LA is going to make a push. You know, LeBron's going to be in the front office's ear about that one. I'm sure. But CP3, destination landing spot. You going to take any guesses?
Uh, I don't know. You think he could fit in with at the Mavs if they keep Kyrie? No.
So I just don't like that. I don't like
It'd
that
be yeah, it'd be
team.
weird,
I
but
don't well, I just don't like the team as it is. You got Luca and Kyrie, two guys that are just used to having the ball. Like Luca needs a facilitator. Luca needs a LeBron. You know, somebody who's going to kick it out to him. Like Luca is so used to just having the ball that I don't know, it hinders the offense some. It makes it hard to go play with him. You know, especially if you're another scorer, right? It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the move. Chris Paul in Dallas. I don't think that necessarily makes them any better. I'm sure Phoenix is going to. I don't know if they're going to try to re-sign him or not. I'm sure LA is going to make a push. If I had to guess, I'm going to say he's probably a Laker. If I'm just putting money on it,
I could see that. But
I'm sure Phoenix would want him. At least I think half of the people there want him. I don't know the situation there. I've heard reports he's not going to be coming back. And that's coming from the front office. Like they're not interested in bringing him back, which doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I could see him in LA just doing the math. Just I don't know if they're going to want to pay D'Angelo Russell what he's going to be asking for. I think he's going to be asking for about like 150 million.
Ooh.
I don't think they're going to want to pay that. I think you can go get a Chris Paul and not lose a whole lot. D'Angelo Russell's a nice player. He's a really good player. But he was a complete no show in the Western Conference Finals against Denver. I would still rather have him, but yeah, if you can go get a Chris Paul, I mean you got to explore that. So if I had to guess, that's where I'd say he's going to end up being. As far as other moves, you're going to see some interesting. You're going to see some interesting stuff in the off season. You know, teams are going to overpay for certain guys, probably bigs. You know, in order to try to some of them just to guard, bang down there with Jokic or to guard Jokic or just mimic that style of play that they've seen, mimic the formula essentially that Denver has had to put this team together. Long, athletic, and with shooters. It's a great team as is, and I think you're going to see a lot of people try to mimic that. Not necessarily have as much success as Denver has, but I think that's what we're going to see this offseason. You're probably going to see some fat contracts thrown at some players in the process. Okay, this got me thinking. All right, like I'm thinking as far as Jokic, Luca, Giannis, Steph, LeBron, all those guys are aging. They're toward the end of their careers, right? Is the face of the NBA eventually going to be a foreign player? If it's right now, it's Jokic, right?
yeah, I'd say for sure, dude. NBA is like, I mean, the biggest American sport worldwide. So yeah, no doubt in time it will be a foreign player.
Yeah, if it's not already, right? I mean, and that's the thing. Jokic is likable. I mean, Giannis is too. Giannis is a likable guy, but they haven't
Yeah.
been in the mix. The last couple of years. Now, I mean, they've been in the mix, but you know, getting put out in 5 by Miami in round 1, that's not going to help. He's been hurt some. He's been banged up some. But Jokic, 2-time MVP, second in the MVP voting this year. I thought he should have won it. But yeah, NBA champion now, likable guy. Like I said, on and off the court.
Yep.
Jokic is probably going to be the face now. But even like the top 3 players in the league right now, like right now, it's probably in this order. I'd say Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. Right? So who's going to be the next great American basketball star? It's not important to me. Like it's not important to me until around and until probably like around the Olympics, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're going to be pulling for your country, but I don't care who the face of the league is. But it's been it's weird, right? That we're just thinking an American born star isn't going to be the face of the league, or I can't. Who is even like the next great American basketball star? Like I said, we're not counting LeBron, Steph. I mean, they're on. Who's going to be the next guy?
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Somebody who's
nobody.
already in the league or in college.
There's nobody that just really jumps out. And you know, who's the guy who's going to be drafted by San Antonio? Wimby
Wimby.
is the Wimby
Yeah.
is the short version of it. But yeah, is it Anthony Edwards? You know, in Minnesota. I mean, he'd probably be my pick. I mean, he's a very nice player. But is he going to be a star of that caliber? I don't know. He's got the talent, but I don't know. Is that going to be the guy? It just had me thinking of that today.
Hmm.
And it's weird when you're used to, because we grew up with Michael, Kobe, LeBron, Duncan. You know, like in the early 2000, like 2003, Tim Duncan was the best player on the planet for a good 2-3 years,
Yeah.
and like it was just incredible to watch. And now it's Giannis, Jokic, Luka. You know, Luka's the best scorer in the game right now. Like it's pretty wild and also cool to see. And it's going to make the next Olympics very interesting as far as summer basketball. It was interesting in 21 when USA squeaked by France. And like I said, and Kevin Durant is the reason that team won a gold medal. If Kevin Durant wasn't on that team, they're not winning gold. I don't know if they're getting silver. I don't know if they're getting bronze, but they're not winning gold if Kevin Durant's not on that team. I will forever remember that from Kevin Durant. Like anybody bashing Kevin Durant, it's like that guy won a gold medal for the United States of America in the 2021 Olympics. Uh, dude deserves his credit forever for that. Like I think a lot of people have already forgotten that. I never will, just because I watched the whole thing. I mean, Kevin Durant was that team, and that team had Tatum, Dame, you know, all the stars of today. Yeah, is it Tatum? Is Tatum going to be the guy?
Mm, mm, I don't think so.
It's like there you go, right? But I mean, Tatum's got superstar talent, but man, he comes and goes in those big
Yep.
moments. Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting, but I do. Having said all that, I do like the idea of an NBA with Jokic, Giannis, and company, Luca being the face of the game in the NBA. I think that's pretty neat. It's cool. It's an interesting turn. All right, as we wind down here, obviously very heavy basketball episode, but Stanley Cup Finals going on right now. I believe the Vegas Golden Knights are still ahead right now, either heading into the final period or whatever against the Florida Panthers. We're
Yeah,
covering
last time I
hot.
seen it, they were beating the brakes off of Florida.
Yeah,
So
it was 3-1 when I came in here to get ready.
it was 5-1 last time I seen it.
Okay,
So
well there you go. All right, looks like Vegas is going to close it out. You got to love sports, man. In the Stanley Cup Finals, Vegas is beating Florida. Like that's just
yeah,
like that's so
your
wild to me.
yeah, your historic powerhouses in the NHL.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught any of the of last week's Women's College World Series softball, but OU
Did
dominated. I watched most of it on the treadmill. Oklahoma was clearly the better team. Now, the highlight of the game that I saw was the robbery of a home run from the Florida State left fielder. I can't remember her name, but it was a hell of a catch she made
Yeah,
to keep Oklahoma from adding a few more runs, 2 or 3 more runs. Oklahoma was already ahead, but it's just got to be noted here. I mean, Oklahoma finished the season 61-1, 61-1 in
who beat them?
softball. I don't remember. I don't know. I didn't look that up.
From what I seen, yeah, I was watching the final game, and yeah, Florida State took the lead with a solo shot, and then they went to break, in between it or in between the half inning or whatnot, and they put up some stat saying, Oklahoma's only trailed like 3 or 8% or something ridiculous uh, of the innings total of the season, and then the first batter up jacks a single shot, and then the next person up hits another home run, I believe. Stupidness.
Yeah, they were just light years better than everybody else this year. Um, I would rank them as far as just a collegiate team. Again, third straight national championship. It ended the season on a 53 game winning streak. To
And
me,
their ace in
there
the transfer
is
portal too.
I don't know, but no matter what, like they're about as good as any collegiate team there's been. If
Yeah.
we're just talking about overall sport, I don't see how you can argue against that. But yeah, I got to give them some love there. Just a hell of a thing to do. Um, there's a lot more in the sports world, but to get to, but we're out of time here. But the finals were very much worth covering. I will mention that my St. Louis Cardinals are completely terrible right now. 2-8 in their last 10 games, dead last in NL Central with a 27-40 record. Hopefully that can turn around, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But until then,
Yeah.
we'll see y'all next week with some more talk, hangout, etc. But until then, it's Grandpal
Brother Brown.
signing out, y'all. Deuces.
Peace.